Welcome to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast, where you can learn and be inspired by real-world examples of how technology is transforming businesses and reshaping industries in a language everyone can understand. Here is your host, Neil C. Hughes.
Welcome back to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast. Now, just a few days ago, on the 1000th episode, I delved into what unites every single guest on this podcast and what makes them different from most of us out there in the world. And I concluded that the answer, for most part, is incredibly simple. Whereas you and I will encounter a problem and give up or complain to our friends about it, others will go away and think, how am I going to fix that problem? And then when they've got that solution, they build a business to scale their solution and fix it for businesses all over the world or their geographical region. And this is a kind of tale that I hear time and time again. And today's guest, Roger Sands, is from Wyebot, and he's got a very similar tale too. And Wyebot is a data analytics-driven platform for Wi-Fi ecosystems. And it's designed to help organisations, large and small, with a viable, reliable and secure solution that can help handle their highly trafficked networks. And for context, Wyebot announced very recently on October 17th the general availability of its flagship product, which is a wireless intelligence platform for B2B organisations, and one that is already powering more than 10 million devices across the US following a successful beta rollout. But the story behind it and how it is helping solve Wi-Fi performance challenges is one that I felt compelled to find out more about. So come and join me and Roger Sands, who is waiting for us in Boston, to share his story, and we'll talk about the story behind Wyebot. So a massive warm welcome to the show, Roger. Can you tell the listeners a little bit more about who you are and what you do?
Yes, thank you, Neil. I am the CEO and co-founder of Wyebot, a high-tech company in the Boston area. I've been in the enterprise networking business for approximately 30 years, and I've been in enterprise Wi-Fi for the last 15. And it was during that journey, working with CIOs, IT directors, and managers across the globe, where we found this major pain point in the industry. And that was industries were shifting to Wi-Fi connectivity as the primary means for running their business-critical applications. And they were also deploying more cloud services. As a result of that, they needed a solution. We call it Wi-Fi optimization and Wi-Fi assurance. And that's all around providing the performance and reliability in a Wi-Fi network similar to what they're accustomed to on the wired network.
I do love your backstory there and how all this came from experiencing a pain point firsthand. But my understanding is that Wyebot is a data analytics-driven platform for WICO ecosystems designed to help organizations of all sizes with a viable, reliable and secure solution that can help them handle their highly trafficked networks. But can you just expand on that and also maybe talk about the kind of problems that you solve for your customers?
Oh, absolutely, Neil. This is the exciting part and what gets us going every day here at Wyebot. As you know, Wi-Fi and mobile connectivity is an extremely dynamic environment, right? Constantly changing, increasing an explosion of IoT devices, applications, as I mentioned, running with cloud services. So it's become this business critical environment. But the challenge is it is constantly changing. And so as a result of that, Wyebot has a solution that's looking for intermittent connectivity issues, interference, performance issues, security issues, anything that has an impact on the reliability, performance, security of the Wi-Fi network is where we're focused. And that's where we provide the tremendous value for our enterprise, education, and healthcare customers.
And one of the reasons I invited you guys on the show today is I've been following you online for some time, and I noticed that you recently announced the general availability of your flagship product, Wireless Intelligent Platform. So can you tell me all about that announcement and why it's got your team all excited?
Yeah, we're extremely excited. We launched the product into the market approximately a year and a half ago when we started with our early customers. And in that time frame, we've seen such a demand for the platform and growth that we realized it was time to get the message out to the rest of the industry. We now have hundreds of customers in these vertical segmentations, getting the benefits of our solution. And that's what made us excited and thought it was the right time to get that message out to the industry.
And for the benefit of everyone listening, I think I must highlight that your wireless intelligent platform is already providing AI-based optimization for more than 10 million client devices across the US. I mean, can you provide a little bit more information around that stack? It sounds phenomenal.
It is. In fact, as I mentioned, we're in hundreds of customers today. And those customers obviously have a large number of IoT devices, end user clients, and we do a fingerprint on every single device with our platform, and a fingerprint on every one of the devices that goes to the cloud for our AI engine to analyze and optimize. And that's what it's all about here, right? It's Wi-Fi assurance, optimizing the performance of your entire ecosystem, all the infrastructure, all the IoT devices, and any interference that may be coming into the network. So across our industries and across our customer base, we actually have over 10 million clients that we've got fingerprints on and that we've provided optimization for our end user customers.
And Wyebot also recently raised, I think, $2.5 million to provide Wi-Fi assurance for enterprises, educational and healthcare facilities nationwide. So can you tell me a little bit more about exactly how that funding is going to help you? Because it's not all about the money, is it? It's about how it can help you drive things forward.
Yes, and we've got some great investors that have been partners with Wyebot, Stage One, Launch Capital, Tectonic, and now InnoSpark Ventures. And these particular companies, we actually had an oversubscribed round in this last funding round to raise the 2.5 million. The focus here is on driving go-to-market. We have an industry-leading platform, best in class. We have a high-powered team with over 100 years of Wi-Fi experience, a strong leadership team, and we have product market fit with these hundreds of customers and 10 million plus clients. So we're in a position now to take that, as I mentioned, same thing with the product launch, get this out there to the broader industry, allow them to take advantage of this unique industry-leading opportunity in Wi-Fi assurance across the vertical segments that we talked about. And so the funding that we raised are going to drive two initiatives. One, as I mentioned, broaden the messaging, go to market to continue to drive growth and enable the solution for our customers. And the second is to continue to drive our focus around AI and machine learning, right? Taking this valuable information and continuing to optimize and provide benefits for our entire customer base, both today and moving forward.
And the first thing that stood out for me when I was researching you is enterprise, educational, and healthcare are entirely different industries. So could you possibly help listeners understand on how you're helping them by maybe telling me a little bit more about how that technology is helping each of these very, very different and unique industries?
And they are unique and they are different. The power of Wyebot is we're vendor agnostic and we're vertical agnostic. So that allows us to go after enterprise, education, and healthcare. Wi-Fi is an industry standard. And so all of these verticals are using the same standards-based protocol, which allows us to provide a system and a solution that can optimize in each one of those environments. But you're absolutely right. Each one does have different characteristics within those vertical segmentations. If we just walk through them quickly, within the enterprise, we're in warehouses, optimizing the performance of automated robots today. We're in retail, optimizing the performance of point-of-sale solutions, right? So these are key business-critical applications running within the retail, within warehouses. As just a couple of examples that we're leveraging today with our solution. If you look at education, huge push within the U.S. for one-to-one computing and statewide testing, all leveraging Chromebooks, iPads, etc., working in a mobile connectivity environment. And those are business-critical for that segment of the market. And lastly, healthcare. As you can imagine, there's an explosion of medical devices and equipment within the healthcare facilities. Doctors, nurses, constantly on the go, but looking for information, patient records, and information 24/7 on their tablets, on their smartphones, along with the devices like patient monitoring systems, dialysis machines that are working in that environment. So again, all of these verticals have business critical, mission critical dependency on a mobile connectivity Wi-Fi environment. But yes, the applications that they're running over those are different. But again, our system is vendor and vertical agnostic.
And I suspect there will be a few business leaders listening thinking, all this is great, but what about the ROI? What problems does it solve for me? And at this point, I want to highlight that I read that your tech is helping businesses save 90% of their time resolving IT issues. And that's something that every business leader should be able to relate to. But also 50% decrease in Wi-Fi problem tickets and 80% reduction in remote site visits. Can you expand on those stats just to help leaders visualize how much of a difference it can actually make?
Absolutely. The team here, as I mentioned, has 100 years of Wi-Fi experience, and a lot of them used to do this manually, right? Supporting our enterprise customers in the past on site. And what we realized is they're highly dynamic and they're very intermittent, these Wi-Fi, performance issues. And so being able to capture that information when the problem's occurring, whether it's an automated warehouse, healthcare, classroom that's doing one-to-one computing, et cetera, that is very difficult because they come and they go. And that's the challenge that we're faced here. So with the Wyebot system, we're running 24/7 by 365. So now when these intermittent problems occur, not only are we capturing them in real time, but with our AI engine, we're also identifying not only the performance problem, the issue that occurred, but we're providing solutions to those problems. So all that's happening in real time. So what used to take days, weeks, and months in a lot of situations to solve these complex issues, we're doing this in minutes, right? So it's an immediate response, proactive, providing the IT organizations exactly what's happening, and we have history that can go back in time and identify those performance issues. Now, as you can imagine, you also mentioned reducing remote site visits. Well, when you have to have these intermittent issues, and now you're trying to solve them, if it's in a remote site, it gets even worse. Because again, often you have to be on site, right, to capture it, get the information you need. With a Wyebot solution, they're 24/7 by 365, cloud enabled, you have access to that information anywhere, anytime. And so now we dramatically reduce the site visits to, remote locations, retail locations, et cetera, because we're providing that information via AI engine right to the dashboard for the IT director wherever they're located.
So are there any use cases or client stories that you can possibly share with everyone listening today that will just help them understand the Wi-Fi performance challenges that you're tackling head on and why you believe it's just so much of a game changer for the industry?
Yeah, if you look just a quick one that was in the press release, Hachette Book Group, a leader in book publication around the world. They have their headquarters in New York City, and as you can imagine, a very demanding environment, right? When you're in New York City, you can see hundreds of these access points and interference, et cetera, and they were having constant product, performance issues within their organization. This has been going on for a long time. Consulting's coming in that are, trying to help solve these issues. They rolled out Wi-Fi and Wyebot across their infrastructure, and it addressed all of their concerns, right? And now they have high productivity within their infrastructure on a daily basis in one of the more complex environments. But we can go on and give you other use cases that are related to that in the warehouse space, education space, where they've been battling challenging intermittent issues that have a direct impact on the bottom line, whether in the warehouse manufacturing space from a revenue perspective, or whether it's in education and other verticals, and it's tied to end user productivity, and even when you get to education, students and the performance on their scores on their tests. So the whole objective is providing the best-in-class end user experience across all of these verticals, which has a direct bottom line in a number of areas, whether it's financials or end user experience.
So we're at that time of year where we're starting to look for the tech trends ahead and where your focus is going to be next year. So I've got to ask, what's next for Wyebot and what is your primary focus going to be for 2020?
Yeah, as I mentioned earlier in this podcast, we actually are going to enable the system and solution now for a larger set of customers next year, right? Driving huge growth for the company and for our customers, getting the solution out there. That was the fundraise, the press release, the announcement. And so it's getting awareness out there on Wyebot in examples like this. so that they can benefit and get these problems solved and get high performance, reliable solutions across their networks. The second piece I touched on was our AI and ML. Because we have over 10 million clients in our database, hundreds of customers, we have a huge capability to continue to build off the AI and ML engine that we have running today, which will build out automated analysis and problem solving automatically for our customers as we see more and more IoT devices coming into the network in 2020.
Excellent. And for anybody that would like to find out more information about Wyebot and the kind of work that you're doing across all those different industries, what is the best way of finding you guys online? And equally, what's the best way of reaching out and contacting your team if they are left with any questions after listening to our conversation today?
Sure. www.wyebot.com, wyebot.com. That is the best place to go. Right on there, we have a lot of content about use cases, case studies, as well as the whole platform and solution and how it can bring value to your organization. We also have right on that website, free demo, trial. So this is a very powerful way to see the system. No obligation. You go on there, sign up, we'll ship your unit, and you can put it into your environment and see exactly how it'll reduce up to 90% of the time resolving these complex problems and giving you the visibility and insight that you need to build out a high performance, business critical wireless network, and which we refer to as Wi-Fi assurance.
What really fascinates me about your story, your journey, and everything that you've created here is warehouses, education, healthcare are all completely different industries, and you wouldn't expect them to have anything in common, but they all experience the same pain points around Wi-Fi, and more particularly Wi-Fi performance. But what I love about it is you discovered that pain point, and rather than just do an angry Facebook status about it or just get frustrated by it, you've actually done something about it and built a solution that will fix that problem for all those different industries, which is a fantastic thing. So a huge thank you for coming on and sharing your story with me today. Thanks again.
Oh, I appreciate it and look forward to working with other customers as we move forward.
As a former IT guy, helping businesses save 90% of time resolving IT issues, 50% decrease in Wi-Fi problem tickets, and 80% reduction in remote site visits, that is my kind of language. And what really struck me after our conversation now is it doesn't matter what industry your business is in. I suspect that every business, no matter what size, will rely on Wi-Fi. And both staff and visitors will quickly voice their frustrations when that free Wi-Fi is not available. Kind of reminds me of that old Will Ferrell quote, where he said, before you marry a person, you should make them use a computer with slow internet just to see who they really are. Nothing more truer than that. As always, I'd love to find out more about your thoughts on today's conversation. My door is always open to each and every one of you. You can email me, techblogwriter@outlook.com, tweet me at Neil C. Hughes, and pop by my website, techblogwriter.co.uk. So before I go, just a big thank you for all your incredibly kind messages, voicemails, direct messages. I think I've replied to everyone. And also remember, you can win a copy of my book and get yourself some free swag by sending me a screenshot of the rating and review. More details are available on the big celebration episode of 1000, so you can check that out there. But I'll be back tomorrow with another guest. All that's left for me to say is a big thank you for listening, and until next time, don't be a stranger.
Thank you for listening to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast with Neil C. Hughes. Remember, technology works best when it brings people together.